Hey, all my Virgo friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about your January 2024 monthly horoscope. This is based on Virgo rising. It's also applicable to Virgo moon as well as Virgo sun. And if you have 3 or more personal planets in the sign of Virgo, this would also be applicable to you. The house structure that I talk about during the video will be based on Virgo rising. So just be mindful of that. Also, this is I'm showing this in whole sign and it's based on the Pacific time zone. So if you're somewhere else in the world, you will have to adjust the time that I talk about. So let's just jump right in. I've got this set at 7:15 p.m. because that is when Mercury will finally turn direct. Mercury spent the last couple of 3 weeks in retrograde, and it went from Capricorn back through Sagittarius and stationed at 22 degrees. And during that time, Mercury was going over the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees, 16 minutes of Sagittarius. This is a very powerful point within our universe where you can access information, access the quantum fields that provide information. You can have divine and inspired ideas. You can have epiphanies that help solve problems that have been happening in your life. It's really powerful. And this Mercury retrograde over this point hasn't happened since 2016 through 2017, meaning it was the same, obviously, period of time because that's Sagittarius Capricorn season. I bring this up because as Mercury moves forward and moves back over that galactic center, here we see Mars is sitting 1 degree away from it now. This is an opportunity to take brave action within my thoughts, being mindful and having an awareness, not necessarily trying to release a thought or, be upset with yourself as you have your brain is an organ. It is a muscle that has a default. So your awareness of the default or of the imprint or of how it's been branded will give you an opportunity to stretch your mind into practicing thoughts that serve you, that serve where you want to go. So I think this is a powerful time. We also see Venus over here on the first day of the year in Sagittarius. So this is a stellium. And as she moves forward, she's going to meet up with the great attractor. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I want to say for my Sagittarius is this point in time for you is your 4th house. So you've been having this transit of Mercury moving into Capricorn, your 5th house, then back into your 4th house of home, your house of your childhood where you were brought up, your mother, your country of origin, your property. Mercury also represents our siblings. So there could be, you could have had interactions with your siblings about things going on within your home. And Sagittarius would be the nature of really kind of moving in new directions in the sense of broadening your thoughts, expanding in many ways, expanding your opportunities or the way you're working through something. You might also, there could be, Virgo, that you are working from home. This is another thing that's possible because Virgo represents work and Sagittarius represents business and commerce, branding, publishing. It represents many things. But I think that you might have some epiphanies about that. And as Venus, which rules our money and our partnerships, but as she moves over the great attractor, and as a result of the information that you have assimilated, I'll put it that way, you may find opportunities coming your way that defy the odds or seem magical. I'm not sure because Virgo is so good at consistency, getting things done, processing, solving solutions on their own. So now when we add the universe's input here, it could be really very, very powerful. Next, I want to move to the 4th. I'm going to change the time to noon because that's pretty general. And as we move to the 4th, we'll see that Mars has entered Capricorn. And this is powerful because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It is where Mars is a welcomed guest. They roll out the red carpet, they bring out the fine china. There's a lot of dignitary energy around this. It's also on the world axis. So this makes me think that there's even more opportunity to take the things you've assimilated in your, your childhood experience with your siblings, how you were even perceived in the way your thought process is, because Mercury is actually in fall in Sagittarius. It's in the opposite sign. So here Sagittarius is broad thinking. Mercury is mostly let's get the information and move on. And here there's been a slowdown. Let's really review where we are, what we're going, and what we believe about ourselves, and then use Venus's energy to attract the things that I need to move my story forward. Again, Sagittarius rules publishing, branding, marketing. This is all what influencers are made of. This is where technology is taking us. So there's a lot of opportunity here to really set an intention. The 0 degree is very powerful. It's like a new beginning. It's like a birth in many ways. So I think this is a really powerful time. Mars will move forward as Mars moves forward, we will see a growing sextile. It's already in sextile. This is a favorable aspect of Mars's energy with Saturn that rules Capricorn. So I believe that Mars's retrograde in Gemini was in late 2022, early 2023, gave Mars a lot of information about how the Mars energy interacts in their everyday world. Now I feel as if Mars is starting to be a more strategic warrior, a peaceful warrior, more playing to the hero energy. And this is as a result of this sextile with Saturn, where there's a willingness to be more methodical and not sitting on my hands and not being patient, but understanding the baton pass between my actions and my inspired actions. We also see a very favorable aspect growing between Mars and Jupiter. Jupiter rules, again, publishing, wealth. This is the natural ruler of Sagittarius. So there's some really powerful things coming up for you that I think will allow for true expansion. This transit of Jupiter in Taurus is going through your 9th house. So it's like the Lord of the house is in the house, but somebody else is renting it. Taurus is renting it. So this is where you can really put down some roots, trust your skills, your voice, both your voice through the pen or through literally your vocal cords, and allow for your expansion. Very, very favorable time at the beginning of the year for my Virgos. Next transit that I think is important is the new moon. Let me just get there. This new moon is going to happen at 3:57 a.m. Pacific time on the 11th. Let me get off Mars, and we'll see here this new moon in Capricorn is at the 20th degree. This is the 2nd or 3rd. I believe it's the 3rd, because we had 2 in 2023 at the end of 2023 at 20 degrees. That's the transformational Scorpion degree, where I am planting seeds for a new platform with which I take action on. I'm more aware of my own emotional body now. This is very much as a result of what we've seen going on with Mercury and now Mars, well into Capricorn. Venus is on the great attractor. We're going to go back to her in a minute. But now we have Mercury on the galactic center for the 3rd time. And this is really where we start to root in what we have garnished, what we have learned, what we have experienced about our thoughts and about our own personal energy as we endeavor something. And now we're planting seeds for new structure. This is where the Capricorn energy is becoming a builder. It's been, up until now, there's been like a new architect doing the plans for the renovation. And now we're really planting the seeds. We're putting in the orders for the materials that we need. We see this new moon making a square to Libra. It's an exact square to the south node in Libra. This energy is where I'm aware of how I'm not necessarily being cooperative with other people, where here I'm realizing that if I'm going to be a hero in my own life, I'm going to have to maybe put myself first when others would not particularly want me to do that or have not traditionally experienced me doing that. Here we see there's also a square to the north node in Aries, and Aries is your 8th house of transformation. And here we see Eris. Eris is Mars's little sister. She stands up for herself. She's a little bit of a scrapper, a little bit of a street fighter, but she has great intentions. And so there's this new moon. There could be an awareness for my Virgos that, this might not be easy because other people may not understand. I may appear selfish, I may appear uncooperative, but we also see a wonderful trine to Uranus here in Taurus. Again, this is your 9th house, and your benefit, you putting potentially your renovated career at the forefront of your priorities could very well provide the resources that allow you to be of more help or more support to others, and they may not be able to see it initially. So I think this is I think it's a powerful time. And this is where I honor those squares as this tension between an old version of myself that thinks a certain way, behaves a certain way, responds a certain way. And then I have this, evolved version of myself, this aware version of myself that I want to implement much more succinctly and much more consistently in my physical experience. Okay, and now we see, I'm going to go back to 12 p.m. And we're going to see on the 13th that Mercury is going to move into Capricorn. Well, maybe it's a little later in the day, but we see here that Mercury is going to start putting in that, how do I want to phrase this? I think that this is where Mercury starts to experience that my thoughts are things in a more grounded way. And I think this is very powerful because as Mercury moves into sextile with Saturn, let me just move this a day over. Well, there, we'll see it here. As Mercury starts to move into a sextile with Saturn, this is where I feel as if I've reviewed my history. I've looked at where I've been feeling limited and potentially feeling restricted. And now I realize that maybe a lot of that had to do with my belief system that I had just been imprinted with as a child. And maybe there's more under the hood than I realized. So here I am really starting to feel this ability to build a new way of being in order to support new experiences in my life that bring more wealth and expansion. Here's now Mercury making a trine to, or a growing trine to Jupiter. Mars is absolutely in a trine and a sextile with these two planets. So I think this is super powerful for starting to feel things in the material world. And I don't know that they're huge sweeping things. Again, Saturn, there's this consistency. So Saturn to me feels like it might be doling out the rewards in order to protect you from any sort of illusions or any sort of giving up your power. Pisces is a very creative sign. And here Saturn is really calling forth a structured and disciplined application of your talents versus, calling your best girlfriend and listening to her sad story or, escaping your own greatness in some way. Okay. And we see on the 19th, the Sun and Pluto are going to make an exact conjunction in Capricorn. I think this is super powerful. And for some reason, this has hit me very much as if it's going to be on a world stage. Capricorn is your fifth house of creativity. So you may, or romance, it's also the conception of children. You may have a real lightning strike is the way I want to put it, and not in a bad way, but in a real, oh my gosh, I totally get it now. I see it. And this, and the underbelly that Pluto brings up is oftentimes a psychological fear that if we don't acquiesce to some other dynamic, whether it be our employer, our husband, our wife, our children, whatever the outside world would deem us to be, of service, of value, of, being there for others. It's kind of like the humans are trained never quite to be there for themselves. So here, this very much feels as if something's going to come up for my Virgos that just almost feels like a strong intention to endure other people's opinions, to the point of an understanding that you're on a holy mission. And it's not to necessarily put it in their face that, they doubted me, but now you rising above doubt and experiencing that within yourself. I think that's where we're going with that. And I should have done this. Then we see on the 20th, the sun moves on the other side of Pluto. So this aspect goes on for a few days, and it's moved into the very liberating sign of Aquarius. So this is very powerful. And we see Venus approaching the galactic center. Again, this is where, if you're taking time to have focused thought, be in awareness, you could do a sitting meditation, you could do a mindful meditation, you could do a movement meditation. These could all provide a vessel for you to tap into inspirations for your creativity, divine solutions for movement forward. Even it could be such a thing where you find the words coming out of your mouth are more eloquent when you are in challenge with other people or in a challenging situation than you have been before, because there's an opportunity to really sink this energy that you have been experiencing into the ground in a very rooted way. So, and this is also an opportunity to feel your value in a very strong way. Okay. On the 21st, Pluto will enter Aquarius, and we're not late enough. Oh, there it is at 0 degrees. Now, Pluto dipped its toe into Aquarius back in 2023, but now what we're going to see is a primary energy of Aquarius for the next 20 years. Pluto is going to birth many things and unearth many things that will liberate humanity from repression and from, Aquarius rules the cosmic consciousness. It rules space. It rules science. It rules technology. It rules our hopes and our dreams. It's called an Upachaya house. It rewards over time. It's co-ruled by Saturn. This 20-year transit will very much, we'll see a jump in technology like we really probably can't imagine. Gemini will experience a Uranus transit in the next couple of years that will support this change in how we roll as a humanity, but it's also an opportunity to liberate ourselves from things that are no longer current. It's almost like Pluto comes into Aquarius and says, yeah, that happened, but how's that moving your story forward? It's time to liberate yourself, to look to the future versus looking to the past. So we're going to feel this very strongly, and anybody who's in a fixed sign will feel this energy either in opposition, that would be Leo, or our Scorpios and our Tauruses will feel it in square. And I personally have had most of my life, I had Pluto conjunctions to my personal planets. I'm now experiencing squares, and they have been very favorable. While they've been disruptive on the initial part of it, I've garnished a lot of information and been able to integrate that into my life. So I think this is something to be on the, keep your eyes open for. Now we see on the 23rd, we see Venus enter Virgo. I'm sorry, enter Capricorn. She will be trining Virgo during this time. And Capricorn, again, is your fifth house. So this is all about you really putting structure into I want to say your creativity, because you're, having Capricorn be your 5th house, it's such a house of personal expression. It's the performer, it's the clown, it's the child. It's also where we conceive children. It's very much about your heart and having courage. So now we see, Mercury and Mars, while it's still in exaltation, we're having a conversation, we're feeling brave, we're feeling pioneering, we're willing to make a little bit, put our neck out a little bit, and we still see these squares to the nodes. But this is just an awareness of, am I willing to move my story forward, or do I still live under this shadow of pretending that I don't know how to do that, or I'm not capable enough, or people won't like me? Because Venus is very much, as she moves into Capricorn, it's not the sexiest sign for her, okay? But it does make her want to use her skills and to birth them in a really solid way. She co-rules Taurus. I'm sorry, she rules Taurus. She also rules Libra. So when she's in Capricorn, she's squaring Libra, but she's trining Taurus. So she's having to decide, do I take care of me a little bit, birth my skills, or do I default to what's been expected of me? And so here, I think she's like, nope, I'm ready. This is my time. This is my time to really start to implement what I have learned through what I garnished in these last few months as I traveled through this Shapley cluster. It's super powerful and super influential for our lives when we have an awareness about it. So I get very excited about these things. All right, now we have on the 25th at 9:53 a.m. Pacific, we are going to have a full moon in Leo. And let me just go to the moon. We see here, the moon is, a full moon is always in opposition between the sun and the moon, illuminating the brightest phase of the moon. We see that the moon is having a bit of a challenge here with Saturn and with Venus. This is a blind side. I can't quite see, I can't quite feel, and this would be about money. Again, here we have a very creative sign in Pisces. We have a very creative sign in Leo. And now Capricorn is very, I want structure. I want some sort of looking to authority, looking to how will this play out? How will I, Capricorn, if you build something on the inside, it doesn't seem to matter. But when the Capricorn energy is built in the material world for other people to see, it seems to have more weight, more gravitas. So here, Virgo, this is really wanting to birth myself and still feeling emotionally unsure. And this new or full moon at the 5th degree of Leo conjunct Pluto. And while Pluto's a small planet, it's a powerful planet. So even though this isn't as intense as it has been, it's still very illuminating, because now the moon making a square to Jupiter is making me ask myself again, what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about my talents, about my ability to make money at my own talents? And then that's taking it and stretching yourself emotionally another, mile down the road in your belief system, because this is what's going to tee up this whole year. And by the end of the year, you may find yourself in a much more enjoyable place than you had been in 2023. And I'm going to round out the month, on the 27th, where we see Uranus is now moving forward, and it is making a trine to Mercury, your ruling planet, and Mars exact. This is this is the Leo degree as well. So here there's an opportunity, if you're brave, to experience something that you might not have experienced before. Uranus rules the internet. There's so many platforms. I can't help but think about this woman on TikTok who during the pandemic 2020 She started TikTok, and within 3 years, she has over 12 million followers. And I think that has a lot to do with her producing content, with her way of being, but it's also her just being herself. And so Virgo tends to want to be a perfectionist. And here we see this quincunx to the South Node. So this is sort of, again, a blind spot, where you're going to have to say, does making the group feel better than I feel? Is that really going to work for the long term? Because here now, this brave action of thought and willingness to stick your neck out, you're still not going to have an exact answer to what happens. There's a 2.5 here to Venus. But I feel like if you start trusting that I have skills, I'm good at what I do, I'm good at this endeavor, that I think you're going to see things very differently moving forward. So overall, for my Virgo rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, this month very much gives you an opportunity to start to implement through what you've garnished at the end of 2023 about how you want to run your everyday life, how you want to make money, how much time you want to spend, nurturing your playful side, and how much do you want to just continue to work for somebody else's dream. That's kind of how it feels to me. All right. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. I am available if you'd like to book an astrology reading with me. I'm also available for angel readings. And please join me Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we do a tarot card and an angel reading for each one of the rising signs and get the angel's advice for moving through the transits the week ahead. All right. Thanks so much. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when new content comes out. Have a great January and Happy New Year, everybody. Well, Virgo. Bye.